4,300 South Africans at any given time are in need of tissue or organ transplants. Yet only 0.2% of us are registered as donors. Just one tissue donation can save or improve the lives of up to 63 people. So what's holding us back from giving the gift of life? Melody Labuschagne is a professor at UNISA's School of Law and a non-executive director of Bone SA. She joins me now to discuss this further. Professor, when you say one organ donor can save 63 lives, what exactly does that mean? Most people think it's a heart transplant or a kidney, but you're actually giving more than that, aren't you?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yes, so tissue donation, when we talk about organ donation, we're talking about solid organs like hearts, lungs, kidneys, but tissue donation is actually goes much further. We're talking about heart valves, corneas, skin, bone. So one donation can actually not only save a patient, but could actually improve the lives of many, many patients. And the truth is that so many people, potential donors, are out there, and not
All right, it seems like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties there with Professor Labuschagne, but we'll get to her in just a few minutes' time. As the recipient of a cornea myself, I'm quite interested in how we can get more and more people, you know, to sign up as organ donors. I know there's lots of things that prevent people from doing it. You know, some people think that maybe if you become an organ donor, then when you get to the hospital, they won't take care of you well enough. You know, they won't ensure that that you're taken care of. So there's myths like that, and maybe Professor Labuschagne can help us with that. Professor, I hear we have you back.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, and sorry for that. Yes, so what one patient can, 65 patients can be benefited by just one donor, and we're not talking about the solid organs, but also the bone, the tissue, the ligaments, skin. So tissue donation is actually much broader than organ donation. And when we have 4,500 patients waiting for organs, we're really in a very dire situation.
So I was just saying to Annika, my partner right now, that I had a cornea transplant last year. I had to go to an overseas donor bank in order to get that, because the South African bank hardly ever has any corneas. It seems like countries overseas are doing a much better job. Countries like Spain have over 30 times as many donors per million in their population than we do. So what are they getting right? And can't we just replicate that?
It would have been ideal if we had a similar system like Spain. Spain follows an opt-out system, which means that all adults are assumed to be donors automatically unless they opt out in writing. Unfortunately, for South Africa, an opt-out system is not ideal because we have a number of challenges. Firstly, it would potentially violate the Constitution because it would assume that the person would automatically agree to that and implicating a person's autonomy. Secondly, we have a low literacy rate in South Africa, and ideally this is too low to assume that all South Africans would have agreed and would have seen and agreed in writing to become a donor. And furthermore, there are other concerns around misconceptions from the public that a doctor will not go the extra mile to save a life. But the problem actually in South Africa is that there are so many potential donors and they're not aware that they can change this around. And if they don't communicate with their loved ones and next of kin, this is not going to improve, because the law, although the law is clear, the framework is very clear. When a patient is in a terminal situation and the decision has to be made, the next of kin is approached and they can override a donor's wishes. And this is why it's so important that potential donors register with the Organ Donor Foundation. Although it is not a legal requirement, it will really help to improve the situation currently.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for your time. The key takeaway there is that if you want to be an organ donor, you have to register and communicate that to your relatives to make sure that they follow through with your wishes once you pass away. That was Professor Melody Labuschagne of UNISA and Bone SA.
I remember, Taps, the night before that you had your transplant. I mean, I don't know how much detail you're prepared to let people know about, but...
well, we're here now, so let's do it.
Well, just before you had your transplant, we didn't realize that it would be arriving in a little fiberglass box rushed on a plane coming all the way from the United States.
Yeah.